So I stopped by one of my neighbor's gardens, and he had these ornaments trying to scare the birds. And I go, bro, you're not scaring anybody with those birds. They need to be fixed. So let me show you. So here they are. They're the falcons that you put to deter birds from coming near. However, they got like this pale color on it. They just look like a stone with like these plastic eyeballs. So I'm gonna start by putting painter's tape on the eyes to protect them. Then I'm gonna use flat enamel to kind of give it a base tone. So that's where I'm gonna start with these guys. So I pretty much grab painter's tape and I covered up their eyes. So the next thing that I want to do is make sure there's any debris or any dirt on it to take it out. So you can see it's kind of dirty in there. So that's going to be the next part before I spray this. Okay, so the next step is to grab these bad boys. I cleaned out the interior. This one has like a plug or something in it. And now we're just going to spray paint it. And that'll be perfect. It's pretty good base coat. That's one birdie. Let's do the other birdie. Oh, switch it up. Nope, so that's not too bad. I need to let them air dry before I can do some dry brush. So, but for now, I gotta let them dry. So it's currently day 2. I finished, these finished drying yesterday, which is great. The enamel paint stuck very well. I'm not worried about being like fully black. I just want so it has a texture for the acrylic paint to stick to it when I do the dry brush on it. So yeah, so this is pretty much the next part. So I want to show you guys some of the supplies that I'll be using. Okay, so there's my birds, and then these are just basic like Craftsman or Craft Smart. They sell them at Michael's, especially during the back to school season. I've had this. I bought this like a while back. It was 36 set. It was the post after school, and I think I got this whole set for like $10, like many years ago. I still keep them. I shake them. I make sure that they are good to go. This is an old palette that I've had for a while. You could tell this is the original covering. For those of you guys who do oils or acrylic paint, you know exactly what this is. You can buy these fairly cheap. You can, like I said, if you go to Michael's, you can find these. I need to really clean this. Look at that. Ugh, my goodness. And then again, this is some of the other brushes that they sell too. I'm mostly looking for dry brushing, so I'm going to be using big strokes. So I'll be probably using some of these. And maybe over here at number 12, just do some dry brush. And this is a container I picked up from Michael's for 50 cents a couple years ago. And I keep it with water. The only thing I'm missing here is paper towels. That's pretty much all that I'm missing at this point. So I do want to talk about these birds real quick. So again, this is going into my neighbor's backyard. And his biggest complaint was that the birds were not scaring anybody because it was like a weird gray color. So I want to kind of do something that is native to the area, so that way when the bird sees it, the birds know to kind of stay away from his yard, because he's growing food, he's growing herbs, and he's growing different kinds of stuff. So I'm going to show you real quick pretty much what I have an idea for. So this is a picture. I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and one of the things that you want to make sure when you're doing like decorations to scare the wildlife is make sure that you get pictures of wildlife that makes sense for the area. This is what is known as a crested caracara, and this is a juvenile that I saw at work a couple years ago, and most of the plumage tend to be kind of like, it's like a beige color, a peach color here. This is a young one. Tend to have brown tops with the feathers, and then the peaks tend to be kind of pinkish with like a yellow tone. So my idea is to use, these are my personal photos from my cell phone. I took like almost a year and a half ago. And I'm going to be using these as my reference to paint these. And I'm going to use a couple images of the internet for additional references. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do a stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. And I will try to film myself doing the whole process. Maybe I'll put that in like speed mode at some point. But I'm going to be kind of starting going. And I have a feeling this might take me more than one day to finish this. So yeah, but this is the bird of reference that I want to paint. I want to paint these statues or these plastic ornaments at. So I will show you guys the process. So stand by. So what I'm doing right now is something that's called dry brushing. I don't put too much water on my brush, and because I have that black base, I'm pretty much putting a light coat of this brown on it, and I can oversaturate it. And to be honest, I'm not looking for anything perfect at this point because this is gonna be out in a garden. You don't, you just want it to be just a deterrent. So you don't have to go die hard on the full details. But I used to use this a lot on like repainting toys back in the day. Meow meow, not right now. No, you're not gonna eat my paint. Don't eat my paint. No, I love you, but no. No, not right now. Not right now, sorry. My kitty wants attention when I'm always working, so yes. So this is pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing a quick dry brush. And I'm going to do this on both birds. And right now I'm just doing the base. I'll add a little more detail later. But I just wanted to be enough detail so if creatures see it, they can identify, they see it as danger, and it will leave his garden alone. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to do right now. It's a good way to deter wildlife without having to use poisons or anything. The gentleman is really big into environmentalist. He likes to grow his own food, preserve the wildlife, so he does not like using poisons and stuff if he can avoid it. So that's why I'm trying to give this a more paint job to see if we can deter wildlife from eating his his crops. So yep, I'll go ahead and keep going. I'll do an update here in a little bit. Okay, so this is what I have at an hour point. I pretty much got the base coat. Again, this is going to be outside. I want to add a little more white here because I see that the birds, the reference picture, it does have some bright plumage here, and then it starts getting to the oranges and blue here. Most of it, the core of it is pretty much done. I just got to put a couple streaks of the light peach color, and then I got to clean up the feet. Now this right here is pretty easy to do. Instead of doing like a big blob of the brown, I simply just went ahead and I just dabbed it at the bottom. So it makes it look like it's a darker brown without me having to blend in a darker brown. So yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at. Like I said, this is mostly going to go in a garden, so I'm not going to go too crazy with it, but it definitely looks a lot better than that gray that I started with. I think animals would be deterred from going near his garden once this is done. So yes. Okay, so I'm at about an hour and a half right now. It's not looking too bad. Like I said, just doing some basic details. So if I'm a bird and I'm looking down, I want to make sure that it's like, hey, I see something familiar. I don't really want to mess with it. So it's just kind of giving the illusion of this critter being there. Right now I'm down to the peak area. There is a little bit of blue in the peak, but mostly part of the face is some oranges and yellow. So I'm going to be doing that right there. So I'm going to do that right here, and then I'm going to clean out the feet. Sweet. So this is what I got so far. It's not too bad. It's good enough. I'm kind of building up the coat right here on the nose because it's kind of like a light blue per the photo. I did add some of the pink and some of the yellow, but this needs to be more yellow. But I have to build it out from black to yellow. So it's going to take a few more coats. So while that's drying up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to do a dry brush right here at the bottom and then try to go ahead and clean that out right there. So I got to be really careful. Very, very careful. I've said this before to my students in the past. Black is a very potent color. So all you need is just a little dab of it to clean it out a little bit. And then I might mix that up with the brown to get some really nice details on it. But for right now, I'm just mostly cleaning up the feet on both of them while that dries up at the top. And then I'm going to go from there. Okay, so I just finished cleaning the base, so that looks a lot better. Like I said, we're not going for hyper realistic, just enough to be a deterrent. So I went ahead and I added the yellow right here in the peak, so that way it will stand out, because that's something that I've kind of noticed in all the photos that's a little bit kind of predominant. It's either pink or it's yellow, so I kind of did like a mix of both. And then the next thing I want to do is the eyeballs. So these things got a little bit of like the eyeballs a little bit dim. So I want to see if the mixture of baking soda and water works in order to restore that. Otherwise, I'm going to see if oil works. So that's going to be the next part on this restoration. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to protect this. So this is Crystalline. It's a crystal clear. Now I gotta be careful that I don't make them shiny, because if I make them shiny, the animals would know. But I do want to add a protective coating. So what I'm probably gonna do, I'm gonna grab these, take them outside real quick, spray them down, just kind of give it like a quick pass, and then I'm gonna work on their eyes. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna work on next. So yes. Okay, so I'm in my garage. I'm mostly gonna do like a quick overlay of the crystal coating on it. But again, I don't want to go too crazy, because I don't want animals see something shiny, they're like, hey, something looks off. But it has to be in a really well-ventilated area. So I'm in my garage with my garage door open, and I'm gonna give it a really quick coat. Assuming I can even open this anymore. There we go. Not too shiny, because you want to be shiny. You don't want to do that. Just enough to protect it. And remember, plumage does have some reflective aspects to it. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit out here for a few minutes, let it air out, and then I'm gonna start working on the eyes next. So that's the next part I'm going to be doing. So while that dries out outside, I'm going to start making the mixture for the eyes. You can try to use vinegar, baking soda. I'm just going to use baking soda and water. I use vinegar and baking soda to clean, especially some of the minerals that Texas water has. But for this, I'm going to keep it very simple. And believe it or not, this works on dishes too. Baking soda is amazing. I don't think people realize the power of baking soda. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there, mix it up. And I gotta be careful, because I have a very curious cat that likes to sample everything. So I gotta be really careful when I'm doing this. As you can see, I'm not sure if you saw in the video where I was constantly trying to keep her from eating the paint. So yeah, so I'm going to mix this up. The statue should be done in a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try to clean out the eyes. So for this next part, I went ahead and I took off the plastic or the painter's tape off the eyes. As you can see, look, they're kind of dull. They ain't fooling nobody. So I'm hoping that this baking soda and water remedy from many, many moons ago will work. Okay, if it doesn't, I do have another backup idea. And I gotta be careful, because there is paint on there. My hand must be dry. Yeah, see, some of the paint is coming off. So, I might have the wrong tool with this, so let me try some Q-tips. Oh, the birds are flipping out. They're seeing them. You hear them? They're warning their colleagues, hey, danger, 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 danger. That means I did a good job. So let me try to get some cotton swabs real quick, and I'll be right back. So, I'm back, this time with cotton swabs, and then I do have a backup, which is a little bit of oil, or cooking oil, just to kind of give the eyes some sheen, because right now they look like they're very dead. So, yeah, that's not going to work. So, let me try the Q-tip first. This will allow me to get more control as I'm cleaning these. So, let's try that. I don't think this will work, because it seems that maybe a little too old. Yeah, it's a little too dingy. Too old. I mean, no, it's too old. See, I'm looking at it. It's okay. That's the before. That's the after, but they still look like they're kind of glossed over. Let me try the other side real quick. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, and they kind of dinge back out when I dry them out. But it is a little bit of improvement. But so this is the baking soda bird. This is going to be the oil bird. I'm going to use just a little bit. I just need like a few drops. I don't even need anything too crazy. There we go. Just a dab. I'm going to use a Q-tip. Look at that. So much butter, cooking oil. Yeah, I think cooking oil is the winner. There we go. Butter, cooking oil, baking soda. Cooking oil wins. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, much gooder. Look at that. Very nice and glossy. Okay. So that's actually not too bad. Now I do have to let them sit out in the garage for a little bit or outside because again the smell for the smell for that spray is very overpowering. So let me go ahead and rinse this out. I'll take some turnarounds so these bad boys like a Michael Bay movie, and then you guys can see the final result. All right, and I'll see if my neighbor's available. They'll let me film it in their garden. So here we go. Michael Bay, how it started, how it ended moment. Look at this high tech. That's not too bad. I dig it. Anyway, guys, so this is the project. One of my neighbors needed help, and I love restoring all things, especially things like this, where they're like $1 or $2. So especially if it's just paint. My mom used to take me to paint ceramics as a kid, and I used to do it in high school too. I was in the ceramics art class. So this kind of takes me back, and it gets me away from the computer. That's why I still do traditional, even though most of what I've been doing the last couple of years is digital. But this is a great project. So try to look around your house, and if you can see if something that maybe it's a little older, maybe needs a little bit of facelift, and experiment with it, or just go to the dollar store and buy like a cheap figure for $1 and then try to repaint it. I also used to repaint action figures back when I was doing Raging Nerdgasm, so that's how I kind of learned how to do this really quickly. But anyway, guys, if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, or just keep giving me kudos on the videos, or maybe not. That's fine. It's totally fine. But I'll keep trying to make this fun content for you guys. Any of the artsy fartsy stuff that I do. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Khayos, and I'm checking out.